And welcome back to the Bleeding Cool Comics Chatter. I'm your faithful host, Josh Davison, reviews editor of Bleeding Cool, and I'm joined by Eliot.
Hi, I'm Eliot Cole. I also occasionally do reviews, and I talk a lot of crap, and I really tried hard not to swear there.
And with that excellent segue, we're going to be talking about Terrifics, the newest DC Jeff Lemire title with artist Ivan Reyes. It's for the plot for the uninitiated. It spins out of Dark Knight Metal pretty directly, with Mr. Terrific and Plastic Man going to Stag Industries, Simon Stagg, the employer, and accidental partial assistant in creating Metamorpho, and Metamorpho is turned into a strange metal when Simon Stagg opened up a portal to the dark multiverse, and then Mr. Terrific.
Dark multiverse.
Oh yeah, we'll loop back around to that. That's
Okay.
That's the Dark Knight's metal reference. And
Okay.
so they with Plastic Man, who is still an egg, by the way. We'll also get back to that too. And Metamorpho, the three of them go into the dark multiverse and try to close the portal off from the other side.
Wouldn't that trap them there?
You'd think. I think. Sorry, I'm getting a little.
Okay, while you're doing that, I've not read the issue, but I've heard some things, looked at the preview, and I love the introduction of Mr. What's his name? Stagg, Mr. Stagg's the first page with Mr. Stagg's assistant, whoever that is, like Quasimodo, someone. He seems brilliant, and I think he should be in this like everywhere. But I'm guessing he's not. The one thing that I've got at least one thought that I think I can come in a little bit later on. But yeah, you were stammering off to the side there, so I thought I'd fill some air for you. Back to where you were.
Okay, they got dragged in. They got dragged in when they were trying to save Metamorpho. I am a good reviewer reader person, and don't let anyone tell you differently. Anywho, say they got dragged in, and that's kind of the setup. And well, since I don't care about spoiling here, they find Phantom Girl, who was the fourth member of this not Fantastic Four, and I think also Tom Strong, is that the dude's name? The Alan Moore character that they totally brought in and didn't tell anyone about until it was spoiled. I believe so. Yeah, Tom Strong. Yeah, we ran an article shortly after I reviewed this where we mentioned that the artist who co-created this character wasn't told about it.
Oh wow, okay.
Chris Sprouse wasn't told that they were going to be doing this. But yeah, so I actually am pretty ecstatic about this book. Ethical issues that I just mentioned aside, partially just because I love like B list and below characters, and this is a team and made up of entirely of those type of characters, and I'm a huge fan of Mr. Terrific, especially. He's always been one of my favorite Society members. And I like Metamorpho. Plastic Man is all right. I've not actually had a lot of exposure to him in comics. And
I used to love his TV show. So, maybe you're too young for that, but it was a real thing when I was young. That was huge for me. I was very, very into that. Plastic Man was amazing. Turned into a golf ball in the title sequence. It was amazing.
Well, that is a really good sell. That's a really good sales pitch.
Good.
And then Phantom Girl, I mean, the Legion of Superheroes is cool. And so that the setup and premise is already like, okay, you have my attention, and you're also selling the Fantastic Four when Marvel's not really selling the Fantastic Four. That's cool too. You've maintained my attention, and also, of course, writer Jeff Lemire, who's awesome.
Is he writing on his own here, or is he with Ivan Reis?
Well, Ivan Reis is the artist. This kind of calls into question the DC doing the Marvel method now of letting the artist take the lead and then the writer just kind of writes around it more or less.
Right.
So they're both credited as storytellers. Right. From there, it's all speculation of who's actually got more creative control, and I'd rather not do that for now. But at least it is cool that Lemire is back with doing some DC stuff, because he wrote the now rather famous Swamp Thing and Animal Man runs, didn't he?
Yeah, I enjoyed some of those, but I think, like with a lot of his stuff around the time, this was what I was hinting at earlier. I think he's seems to have found his feet now in these big two comics. There's personal opinion, obviously, and I never up until really Wolverine and the other what other book did he do at Marvel?
I don't think he did Wolverine. He did Extraordinary X-Men and Thanos is the one that a lot of people really liked, and I've gone back and read it recently, and it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Did he?
Maybe I'm getting him mixed up with someone else, mate.
Are you thinking Charles Soule?
No, I thought it was Jeff Lemire. Did Jeff Lemire do Sweet Tooth, right?
Oh, he wrote the early Old Man Logan stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I'm full of crap.
Yeah. And he did another Moon Knight as well.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Moon Knight. Yeah. It's an amazing comic book. And it just unfortunately had to coexist with the Vision comic book at the same time. So, two really good comics, one got the attention a little bit more. And, that's how it went. That's when I thought, like, suddenly it seemed to click for him. Up until that time, every time I'd read a Jeff Lemire comic, honestly, and I've got... I stayed with Sweet Tooth quite a while. It's a lovely comic. I just got a bit bored, and I tailed off. Like when you're, I don't know, listening to a lecture or something, and they just really are belaboring it. I just kind of, he's probably lovely, and the comic books are obviously well received. I'm an outlier in this, but I just couldn't keep going with anything really up until that Moon Knight. Really, it was the Moon Knight, but through that I started noticing Old Man Logan, and his work there was fabulous. It was not his usual style of writing on either of them, I don't think. It didn't feel the same.
Well, the Swamp Thing and Animal Man thing were before as Marvel stuff, right?
Yeah. I read those. I bought those. I have them. They're in here somewhere.
Yeah. Just making sure, because the way you explained that, I wanted to clarify for the audience, because you don't have this comment. It's like, oh, those came first. But most of my experience with his DC stuff, it was at first it was Green Arrow, which, with Andrea Sorrentino, and they're quite a team. They're actually doing a new book right now, which name escapes me. I reviewed it. It was really cool. I really enjoyed that up until a point, because before long he started introducing, there are characters who really do not need a Destiny backstory inserted. Green Arrow might be the first and foremost one.
Right.
Like, he's a dude, he's got a bow and arrow, he fights crime, he was rich, that fluctuates back and forth in newer comics, sort of like Iron Fist. Iron Fist seems to lose his fortune a lot. But yeah, Green Arrow really didn't need a Destiny backstory, but then they gave him one, and it got a little convoluted and involved a group called the Outsiders. Not the Outsiders you think of when you hear DC and Outsiders. A group of like warrior, and we're tangenting so hard here, but a group of warriors who each clan is focused on a specific weapon. Like there's the axe, the shield, the fist, the stick. And then there was his he has
a bow and arrow, right?
Yeah, and there's the arrow. There's the arrow clan. And then he wrote with Jeff Johns on the New 52 Justice League of America book, which I really loved that, and I thought he did well. Then Justice League United spun off of that, which was like Justice League Canada sort of space also, and he seemed really bored writing that. Like it was a dry book when it really should have been upbeat and energetic.
Is it like trying to make Ed Brubaker write things that he just doesn't want to? He's just not interested in writing, kind of thing.
It's how I would imagine Ed Brubaker would write Spider-Man.
Oh wow, okay.
Which I would be interested in reading that at least for a little bit, just to see how that one goes.
That's an alt world that we can all visit, but only for 5 minutes.
Yeah. But his Captain America is so good. Man, I love Ed Brubaker. Anywho, and his Winter Soldier stuff. Oh, man. Okay, so, and can't let me tangent off of that, because I will go forever. But anywho, and I liked what Lemire did with, I never read his Old Man Logan stuff. I've read some of his Moon Knight stuff. It was really good. His Extraordinary X-Men was pretty solid, and his Thanos is really good. Right. But going to the present with Terrifics, wow, I let myself tangent off pretty hard there.
Yeah, we did. That's fine.
But Terrifics. It's. I think this is a really good starting point. I think it's. I think Reyes's artwork is as solid as ever. It's really good, actually. I like this again. I like this team makeup, and it's kind of weird. Like you have characters like Metamorpho, who's either been an outsider or gone solo. You had Plastic Man, who's been an occasional Justice Leaguer. Mr. Terrific, who's a Justice Society member, and then like a Legion of Superhero character. Like pretty four disparate parts of DC Comics, just kind of united through circumstance here. And the Dark Multiverse, which it's like an under universe, where all like universes go to die, essentially. Like if a universe is malformed, it like sinks into the Dark Multiverse and collapses. And one of the big parts of Dark Knight's Metal is that this bat god called Barbatos is trying to drag.
Barbatos, I know.
Yeah, he's trying to drag our universe into the Dark Universe.
Right.
And then
Barbatos turn up in the Scottish bloke writer, bald head, not Glenn, Grant Morrison stuff. Didn't Barbatos turn up in his stuff in Batman?
Making me seem ill-informed here.
Maybe I'm misremembering. Are you Googling?
No. Yes. We'll get back to that. Okay. But to stay on topic, and then like Plastic Man was apparently something about his genetic makeup made him more capable of surviving the Dark Multiverse, but he went in there and then turned into an egg, and we kind of figure out what happened here when he finally de-eggs. And according to this, according to this, he first appeared in Dark Days of the Casting, but that's DC Wiki. But anywho, Barbatos, I mean. Okay. But yeah, so I greatly enjoyed this book. Again, it was just like a good intro. It felt like a Fantastic Four story, honestly. Exploring the unknown. You have the grumpy guy, the Joker, the Brainiac, and the woman who turns invisible.
Oh yes, she does. I heard about that. Is it invisible or intangible, or both?
I think she turns invisible. I don't know. I'm not. She doesn't exhibit her powers here.
Right.
But yes, it's very nakedly, and I feel like that's kind of part of the fun. Fantastic Four, but to stay consistent, why I enjoy this, where I didn't enjoy things like something like Damage, which we talked about, and which Jeremy and I discussed elsewhere. They are doing okay. She's intangible. Crap. Okay, so intangible woman, I guess. But anywho, so this at least there is some difference in the chemistry of these characters.
Yeah.
There are changes here, and it doesn't feel like they're just ripping the archetypal Fantastic Four plot. I mean, yeah, exploring the unknown, but
Fantastic Voyage kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not just ripping. Damage just rips the Hulk setup almost wholesale, and it's kind of maddening.
I thought they already had a Hulk ripoff in DC. The Grey Solomon Grundy. Thought he was supposed to be their Hulk.
Yeah, but I guess because he's a villain, and he's a villain. I don't know.
Because when they did the crossover stuff, they actually did cross those two characters over to make the Incredible Sulk or something like that.
The Incredible Sulk.
It was something like that. It was. I don't think you can say it's inspired, because I think people just voted on all that shit. But excuse my swearing. They just that was an amalgam character. Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna let's just say that we've rewritten history, and if it isn't that, and it's now definitely called Incredible Sulk. Definitely. What were your final thoughts on this Fantastic Voyage homage, Josh?
Again, I think the setup's good. They're bringing in characters that they haven't really used a whole lot in a while. It was fun. It was I just think it was a solid read. The art was good. It's a good setup. We don't really get to see where exactly it's going to be going yet, because this is all pretty much origin telling.
Yeah.
But I think it was great, and I recommend it wholeheartedly. Probably one of my favorite comics that came out this week, honestly. Kind of a week so far from the big two.
Week. Well, that's faint praise or praise. It's definitely praise.
It's praise. It's wholehearted recommendation.
Good.
And on that note, I guess we'll sign off for this one. As always, I'm your faithful host, Josh Davison, reviews editor, comic reviews editor, and comic reviews writer at Bleeding Cool. And you can find me on Twitter at Josh Davison Bolt. And this is Eliot, and you can find him at...
I'm completely unfaithful. So, it's aromantic kind of stuff. You can find me in the comments, having a lot of fun, and at Cole_Eliot at Twitter.